Hello everybody, it's Titanium here, bringing you guys a team builder for week 1 of the MDL. Um, so this is an interesting team. Um, they don't have a fairy type and they don't have a dragon type either, which is pretty interesting considering they have a Heatran. Um, it it took me a minute to really think about what I wanted to bring, and I I just the first thing I saw was Terra Dark Toxic Croak because their only dark resist is Muck, and Muck doesn't want to come in on a knockoff. So I just had this idea, and I figured I would hold on. So I have Lycanroc here, and I wanted to have an offensive lead Lycanroc that could set up stealth rocks before dying and then just doing whatever move it wanted for some chip. Um, I think it's a really good mon in this matchup, mostly because of its speed tier. Because it's their fastest mon is Sceptile, and there's no way that mon is coming this game, which would leave Hisuian Zoroark. But at that point, I take out Hisuian Zoroark and I go from there. Um, Ace I think it can put in work, like a lot of work. It just depends on what happens, because they don't really have an answer to Crunch. Like Crunch just hits everything for neutral, even Landorus, even after an Intimidate. A Rock is there just for chip damage after setting up Stealth Rock, but for the most part, that's really just the job. Uh, that's really just this mon's job. That's what it's here for. Um, Fortress. Honestly, it's a very ballsy set to run because Miss Magius walls it completely. If it's just regular Miss Magius as a whole walls this move set, besides Volt Switch, um, it it's a ballsy move set because then it also can't really hit Landorus. But I wanted to run Earthquake in case of Heatran switch in. Alongside that, I wanted spikes because they don't have removal. They're only, yeah, they don't have any removal. Yeah, yeah. They don't have any removal. So setting up spikes would help me out a ton here. And then rapid spin to get rid of their hazards if they set them up. I have Volt Switch in case they want to switch out into fire type like Heatran or Emboar, assuming I don't Earthquake, even though I should. I am ran a mostly Fizz Def set with some attack investment. Um, Earthquake should be 2-hit KOing Heatran or close to a one-shotting from the calculations I did. Um, because even if I don't KO, I just switch into Slowking. Um, but yeah, no. We got Toxicroak, and this is like the main mon of the team with Terra Dark, Knockoff, and Sucker Punch, Close Combat, and Poison Jab. Originally, I was gonna do Gunk Shot, but it's like there's no point in running Gunk Shot when I can just knock off or CC. And thinking about it, I probably should have gone with a different move besides Poison Jab. But then again, at the same time, if they're Terra Fairy on Miss Magius or on Ursaring, I want to be able to hit that super effectively. I'm not running Dry Skin this matchup because honestly, I don't see Slowbro coming, and if it does, it doesn't want to stay in, assuming I'm Dry Skin, because if I Terra Dark, they can't hit me for either a Scald or a Future Sight. For Alligator, isn't coming in this matchup either because what's it gonna do against Zapdos, Slowking, and Hydrapple? Yeah, you have Ice Punch and Liquidation, but if I get static off or I have a berry, you're kind of just screwed. Um, it so I guess it's not a bad idea. I don't know. Like I feel like I could have ran something better than Sucker Punch, but not Sucker Punch, Poison Jab, but I think it works here, and because I'm Poison Touch, if they switch into like Landorus on a close combat or a knockoff, I have a chance to poison it, which is really good value in this matchup because nothing on here wants to have a poison. Heatran is like the only switch in. If they get a Flame Body off, I'm kind of just screwed. But the Choice Band kind of mitigates that, so I'm still doing decent damage. Once I Terra Dark, Muck. So the thing with Muck is that it can't hit me like at all. It doesn't want to stay in. It would probably have Earthquake or Fire Punch in case it's Dry Skin. Um, Hisuian Zoroark is a little bit tricky because it could literally just be whatever mon it wants to be. But for the most part, I think I can pull through. If anything, I can just lead Toxicroak and knock off turn one in case it is Zoroark. But most of the time, I might just close combat. I don't know. It depends. But next up is Zapdos. I'm running Rocky Helmet Spadef with Static. The reason I'm running Spadef is purely because of Miss Magius and yeah, no, I'm running Spadef for the special attackers because if I just run full Fizdef, it's not really gonna matter much considering they have mostly special attackers in Heatran, Zoroark, Slowbro, Galvantula, Mismagius. Emboar can be special, so can Feraligatr and Sceptile. So I wanted to make sure that I'm able to take special hits really well, especially against Heatran. Um, I have Weather Ball on this because if you combine it with Slowking with Chili's Reception, you get an Eyesight Weather Ball, which pretty much gives me Bolt Beam coverage. And in this matchup, I'm planning on using it on Lando if it switches in. Um, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't switch in because it's Zapdos. It might have Stone Edge, but if I can get off a Weather Ball and kill it, I'm in a really good position. Discharge is just there for Parahacks, and then U-turn is to get out. Roost is pretty self-explanatory. Next up is Slowking. It's a pretty standard set. He just Scald, Future Sight, Slack Off, and Chili out. It's really such a simple set. Like it's nothing special. Because Seed Berry is there for this Miss Magius or for the Zoroark. That way, I can get off a Future Sight or a Scald or a Chili Reception while taking less damage for a turn. But for the most part, yeah, it's specially invested. Um, I think it'll put in some work, but we'll see. Last but not least, we have Hydrapple. So I think besides Toxicroak, this is like one of the best mons for this matchup. Draco Meteor and Fickle Beam are really good here because their only resist is literally just Heatran, literally, and they don't have a Fairy type either, so they can't be immune to it. Earth Power is there for the Heatran. Syrup Bomb is to catch the Heatran switch in or switch in general. They get their speed lowered, and it's either I switch out or I'll speed them with Hydrapple now, and I can attack them. But the only times I'll be able to outspeed a Mon is if it's like Muck or Heatran. But if I can catch those Mons lacking and I get that speed drop, next turn I just Earth Power for Chip. Um, I'm mostly like special attack invested, so that I can get KOs a lot more easily, especially with Fickle Beam if I get the full power proc. I have some Fizdef investment with Salt Vest. That way I'm extremely bulky from both sides, and being max HP also helps here. Landorus pretty much can't touch me even when spamming U-turn. Muck is a little bit of a problem, but if it switches in on a Syrup Bomb, I might be okay. The same thing with Heatran. Hisuian Zoroark is not really much of a problem, unless it's like Nasty Plot, even though it shouldn't be. Ursaring, I don't really see coming. They might just go Terra Mismagius into this matchup because of the fact that Ghost Stab is pretty good into me, they might run like Terra Fighting, even though Terra Fairy is like the best option here. Just to wall Hydrapple. But if they run Terra Fighting, they might just do that for the Porygon. That's the only reason I see them bringing Terra Fighting, which might be fair because they don't want to get walled. But yeah, no, that's the team for this week, and I will see you guys shortly.